All right, so I am going to go over a mobile home that I just sold. Okay, before I do that, I guess I'll give you a little background on myself. Once upon a time, I went to college. I got my bullshit in business from Arizona State University. I then spent, actually through college, I worked all the way through college, right out of high school. I did the corporate gig from 2003 to about 2016. I worked for companies like Disney, James Hardy, if you've heard of the Hardy backer, for those of you who have done tile before, and a bunch of staffing companies over the years. I did tried climbing the corporate ladder for, 13 years. Decided it wasn't for me. Turns out I don't really like being told what to do by people that I don't think know what they're talking about. So I went in 2017, went into business with my mom and my stepdad over there and flipping and wholesaling. And since then, I've done somewhere upwards of 150 deals. Someday I'll put a sheet together with all the deals on it and actually count them up. And I've been a housing provider since 2020 when I brought my first rental in March of 2020. Anybody remember what was going on in March of 2020? So my mom calls me. We're in the middle of escrow to buy my first rental property up in Crestline. And we've been flipping for a while up there. And I decided to finally hang on to something. So I think I just entered escrow, and she'd already been in escrow for like a week or two. And she goes, oh my God, did you hear about this thing that's going on in Italy and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah. Whatever. Like, let me know when they're shutting down Disneyland, and I'll take it seriously. It's about 2 days goes by, and she calls me, and she's like, they're shutting Disneyland down. I was like, oh, shit. All right. So I started to take it seriously, and then I started to panic a little bit because I was closing on this house basically the week after they shut down Disneyland. And the stock market was in a free fall. Everyone was kind of freaking out. This club was already meeting on Zoom. They'd already canceled the in-person event for that month. That was usually at the Mission Inn. And I didn't know what to do. So this was back before I bought IRIC in 2021, a year later. And I came to this club, and the people in this club were like, buy the house. Just buy the house. Don't worry about it. You're getting a fantastic interest rate. Just buy the house. So I bought the house, and then that house took off. I refinanced it, bought another one a year later, and then cascaded into that. And now I'm up to 16 rentals since then. So I'm happy that I asked and didn't just back out of fear and kept going. Okay? So that was always a lesson to me. And again, that was before I owned this place. So that was if there's something that you're not sure on, come ask. Don't let fear necessarily stop you. Okay? And then I purchased IRIC in 2021, and then I founded the Fire Center in 2023, originally as like a clubhouse for IRIC, and then we thought a little bit bigger. Okay? So that's some things up there, but a little bit about me if you care. I like to travel. Obviously, I have a family now. We've been getting more into golf. That's the little baby that was up here a second ago, Evelyn, chilling next to our golf cart while we were on the range. And occasionally I like to bowl. But like I said, golf's I joined the country club up in Lake Arrowhead, and it's not cheap, so I'm trying to get my golf expenses out of it while I can. So, and they sold my bowling alley, so I'm a little mad at the moment. Yeah, they sold the bowling alley. Yeah, who remembers me talking about buying that place? Yeah, it's been this ongoing thing. I walked in like a couple weeks ago, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is the new owners. I'm like, you mother. So, yep. You did. They weren't open to an option. And I didn't understand it at that point. I honestly thought I had more time. That's all right. I'll get it. Don't worry. These new guys seem like bums. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm not bitter, I swear. So, anyways, current projects-wise, I am doing one flip that has just got listed in Lake Arrowhead. So that's the inside of it up there with this little AI staging, and that's the picture you saw. So that is on the market. Hit the market on Friday. And then rentals-wise, I have 2 single-family rehabs in progress. At the moment. One of them is this one right here in the middle. and that is what the evicted tenant left me with. So I was, it was my tenant, but it wasn't one that I put in there. It was in my first and last inherited tenant, maybe not the last, but my first inherited tenant, and obviously, as you can tell by the condition they left the house in, they were not happy about having to leave. That's okay. It was a mobile home in Paris on land that is worth, when it's all fixed up, probably about close to 300, 250, somewhere around there, 1,000, and I got it for 80. So, and it's going to need probably about 40 to get it back up to rental order. So I'm upset that I have to put the money in, but I'm not that upset. So I was kind of figuring I'd have to do something. I just have to do a little bit more. So, and then after a while, it's just another kitchen. So, and then I got two, right now, as of this second, I am 100% rented on all my rentals, but in the next 3 days, I'm losing 2 tenants. So I'm going to have 2 vacancies coming up. And then, once those 2 are rented up, then we get some rent increases and things are going to be nice. So I also I've been ongoing for about a year now of legalizing some of my non-conforming ADUs with the county. So I've been dealing with them and plans and going back and forth with my consultant that I hired to legalize those units, and they're getting closer. So as anything with the county, it's taken a while, and they're fighting back, and I keep getting the same response from one person at the county, like, you can't have a triplex in a single-family neighborhood. I'm like, I know. I'm not trying to get a triplex. I'm trying to get a single-family house with 2 ADUs. And my consultant has sent them the letters and the HCD documents, and she keeps just coming back with the same thing. So just willful, like, road blocking at this point. So we're still trying to work through it, but and I'm sure we will, but at a certain point we'll get a little bit more aggressive. So we'll see how it goes. And then this place is always an ongoing project. For now, the next thing that's planned is probably some paint. I think we need some color in here. So, all right. Anyways, so like I said, I'm going to go through this deal that I just did. It was a mobile home, not on land. This was in a park. It was in San Bernardino. Okay, so that's what and where it was. How did I find it? This one was cool. I actually had done a project in another park, and this park was owned by the same corporation that owned like 6 or 7 parks. And they couldn't sell this one. I guess their guy that normally would buy these things wasn't interested. And so that manager started calling around to the other managers, and then called the park that I had worked in, got my number, called me, and I got it. Basically, like, I heard about it probably 24 hours before the lien sale, and I showed up at the lien sale. I was the only one at the lien sale. They wanted, if I remember correctly, they wanted like $17,000, $18,000 for it, and I told them 10. And she said, okay. And I was like, I think I said 12 before. I was like, I'd have to be at like 12. This is before I even went there. And then when I got there, I said 10. And she showed me. I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing, because I bought in the lien sales before. I never had a manager that was this transparent. I was like, well, what's the minimum? And she's like 10, 2, something like that. I was like, all right. Can you give me a few months of free space rent? Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So I was the winning bid. I walked in and wrote a check. I hadn't even seen the place yet. I mean, I'd seen the outside, but I hadn't been inside of it. So I'll actually show you the video. So I hadn't actually been inside of it yet. And she said it was pretty bad inside. And I was like, well, I mean, how often, who's posted like pictures or videos of like something they've just bought on Facebook, or like, what do the people that aren't in real estate say? Like, they're like, oh, it could be like just dirty, and they'll say that, or it could be like completely full of rot, and they'll say the same thing. So I was like, that, just, it's really dirty, it's really nasty inside. Like that's a wide range. I don't know what that really meant. So anyways, But I'm like, for 10 grand, shit, I'll roll the dice, okay? I was seeing like an ARV of like 80, 85, somewhere around there. And it was at San Bernardino. It was an all-ages park. So I knew that it was probably going to, it'd be a good buy no matter what, hopefully. So I made the final bid. She said, "Okay, sounds good. Follow me into the office to sign the paperwork." And I said, "Hang on a second. I'll meet you in there." So I'll meet you in there. Just let me lock my car up. And so she walked into the office, and I grabbed my bolt cutters out of the back of my car, which I found out it's illegal to have in California. I didn't know that. Yeah, apparently it's a thing. So I hide it now. We're gonna have to edit that out. So she goes back inside. I grab my bolt cutters because there's this sliding like jail cell style, like because you come into this house through a slider. There's no like front door, so there's like this jail cell like barred contraption that it literally looks like a jail cell. I'll show you the pictures, and it had a lock on it, and she didn't have the lock. She didn't have the key, or she couldn't let me in or whatever until the. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you inside. So I grabbed the bolt cutters, and I snapped the lock, and I like pop my head in real quick. I'm like, and I'm running around. It's in the video. I'll show you in a second. And I'm like, I just bought this home. So it turns out it wasn't bad. The roof had a little bit damage to it, and then overall it was just what you'd expect from a normal 60-year-old mobile home that had never been really maintained all that well. So. Desired possible exit strategies. I mean, really, in a mobile home in a park, there's really only probably two strategies. One, you just flip it for cash, or you could do the seller finance option that Andy teaches, which is great. I like having the cash up front, even without having to do the note and everything. So, in a place like San Bernardino, if it was somewhere like that was moving a little bit slower, I probably would have done that strategy. But in San Bernardino, I didn't feel like I really needed to do that. There was plenty of buyers. Okay, so and that was the hunch, anyways, at the beginning. So, any questions so far? Yes. Can I get a mic runner tonight? Sorry. Anybody? Willing? Thank you, sir.
I was just going to ask for the auction. Is it actually at the park? Because obviously it's different than regular auctions. Is that how generally they do it with mobile home parks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. It's at the park. You show up to the unit at the prescribed time.
Where do they post it? Is it the same as,
Yeah, so where do they post it? It depends, but it's most of the time it's in like a paper, like kind of like the same public notice that you have to give in pretty much any auction setting or foreclosure or whatever, even establishing a corporation sometimes, like all that stuff. It's just and you can use, sometimes they put it just in the regular bigger newspapers, sometimes they put it in something obscure,
You said there was issues with the roof. What kind of roof was it?
It was 1963, I think, mobile home. So it's the old, the roof that looks like a trailer. The
foam like snow stuff? That stuff? Or the...
No, it was like, I don't know what you call it, like the membrane roof, like an RV roof, basically.
Okay.
Honestly, there was so much Henry's painted all over it that I don't really know what it was. I don't really know what was under it, to be perfectly honest with you. It had been repaired many, many times before I got to it. Any other questions? Okay. So here's some before pictures. That is the bathroom, obviously. And I know they're not the greatest pictures in the world, but that is the living room, and that's the roof coming in right there. They had a blanket just kind of pinned up over it to hide it, I guess. Can't see it. It's not there. And then that was the kitchen. Overall, the cabinets were in good shape, but we'll go through that a little bit more. That was the room that was off. So single wide mobile home. It had like a little sunroom off to the side that you kind of came into it. width, and then behind that was this room. Okay, and this room was like, I think that's half a stud. That ladder might be attached to the drywall. I don't remember. And then this was like some foam insulation that was all blown, panel foam and spray-in foam. There was kind of a window like hanging on there for life. And then that was just the patio. There was no really like roof. That was just the patio. So it was kind of a room that they had like a laundry hookups in. And then that was the back bedroom right there. The guy had an interesting book collection. I love going through, like when I buy these things, like I love like going through this stuff. So like when I lost that mobile home to that guy, on an auction in the same park actually a couple weeks later, I almost I walked away from it, but I wanted to make him the deal like, okay, you can have it, but I want to be the first to go through it. Like I get the first right to go in there and pick through this guy's stuff. So I don't know why. It's just I like doing it. So okay, so that was the beginning part, or when I first went in there. So and then that's the kitchen. The nice pink, mauve pink sink from the '60s. Same with the bathtub, and everything in here is way worse than it looks in these pictures. Okay, like. Some of you that have done this could probably smell what this smells like. Don't let the pictures fool you. It wasn't in that good a condition. And then these are some of the after pictures. So, I think I missed the before pictures. I missed the outside on the before pictures. Sorry. So, I did paint the outside. What I'm going to kind of go through is like what I did and what I didn't do. Okay, so on the outside, yes, we painted. Okay, that's number one. You always want to give the park a nice finished product. Okay, they want to be happy, and what they're going to be happy with is the outside. Okay, so always paint them. That's rule number one for me is paint the outside in a park. If it's your rental or something that you're gonna, and it's an okay condition, that's a different story. But in the parks, I pretty much always paint them, okay? Unless they got, for some reason, painted like a year or two ago and it looks okay, But, so inside, you can see that I pretty much did floor to ceiling paint. For those of you that have maybe done these before, what's something you notice? What do you notice? The mini split? Good question. I use paneling or drywall. That's paneling. It was already there. Most of it was already paneling.
You maintained all the paneling.
Mm-hmm. They got rid of the exterior room. We're actually looking the other way, so the exterior room's still there. We'll go through that. You might not see it in this picture. Kitchen was open. Yeah, I thought about taking that little guy out right there, just to open it up more. But then I'd have to, I wasn't sure if it was coming, so it was coming out on this main support right here. And I didn't want to mess with it, so I was just like, and it wasn't like it was falling down or anything, so we just left it. New ceiling, yep, that is where the hole was there. Yep, a new window right there.